So I'm gonna record the not so great side of targeting right now. I don't know if I'm gonna post this or not, but you know, people need to understand the brevity of what this is. I don't know what to do because I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm being abused medically. It's so easy to discredit this whole thing because target individuals look psychotic, right? We're talking about all these things like druggings and poisonings and gases and all this stuff, but I just came back from didn't eat, spending time with family, and I got in their car. Yesterday was a normal day, you know. I had one good day with my family. It was like almost like as if everything was normal, but I'm being gaslit over and over again. I don't know how to prove any of this. It's really hard. And it weighs on my soul so much because I can't prove invisible gases and things. And who's gonna believe that? The only thing I could say is that to me it's synonymous with trafficking. But I just came back from a car ride, a 45-minute, an hour car ride up and back to a restaurant with my family. And in the car, it reminded me of when I rented cars on my own to go move, when I moved from place to place. You know, and I would experience, and then the reason why I say gases is because my eyes are stinging, number one. I was crying, but my eyes are stinging, so that means I know I was exposed to something. I had labored breathing. I wasn't anxious, I wasn't nervous, I had labored breathing. Like, it's almost like as if you were in, let's say you were in a tent, you know, when they do pesticide, like extermination, when they tent a house to get rid of like pests and termites and stuff. Whatever's in those tents, that's what it felt like I was being exposed to. Like RoundUp or... And I can't prove it. But it hurt my lungs so much. It hurt my lungs. And the hardest part is that my parents were in the car with me. And I don't want to sit there and go down conspiracy theory lane and go, oh, my parents are on an antidote. Because why would anyone's parents try to hurt them or traffic them? But this is the ugly side of targeting that people don't see. This is what, you know, some of my days consist of. And then I go, who can I reach out to? Who can I talk to about this? And then I go, I have no one to talk to because my parents deny it tenfold. I reached out to everyone that I possibly could. Law enforcement doesn't give a shit. I have my dog, but even my dog, I feel like it's not fair to her. It's not fair to her because she's being exposed to the same stuff I am. And then the people who are coordinating all this stuff, it's like they want me to feel sad and ashamed, and they want me to live outside, like in a tent or go camping. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's like, I feel like that's what people are trying to push me to do, and that's the worst thing to do. If you're targeted to live outside, outdoors, like most targeted individuals, what happens to them is that they get discredited, they get frowned down upon by society, they get ridiculed and belittled and categorized as psychotic or crazy or mental. And I had a conversation with my mom, and I was at dinner, and I was scared to eat the food because, and I never used to have food sensitivities or allergies or anything like that. And you know, I ate tried to eat Wendy's. I ate a little bite of a cookie, and I had a little bite of a nugget, a chicken nugget, and a little bit after, I felt like, Bonnie, stop it, her. I have the window open right now. Bonnie, stop. And I don't know how to describe it, but it feels like a feeling of losing consciousness. That's the only way I can describe it. Is like, you feel like you're gonna faint, right? Like, I feel weak all over. And then all of a sudden I'll feel like I'm gonna faint, like after ingesting certain foods. It's such a nightmare. I don't wish this upon anybody, but it's so not fair to me, and no one's helping me. No one's helping me. I don't have a lawyer. Doctors to try to explain this shit to. Some of them are in on it. Unfortunately, they get it on gang stalking. Some target individuals aren't even real target individuals. Sometimes they plant people who are not real TIs to be the eyes and ears within the targeted individual community, so that they can keep, like handlers, like they can keep them in line. And it's so hard because, like, no one believes it. I mean, some people do, but I had a conversation with my mother where she says she's so adamant about, like, oh, there's nothing happening. She denies it tenfold over and over. And I go, what did they say to her? Like, who got to her and tried to, like, I don't get it. I don't get it. And it's like these people treat it like a competition. They treat it like and it's like every time I take 10 steps forward and I make progress, like mentally, emotionally, where I feel somewhat steady and stabilized, these people do something, like expose me to a gas. Like, I literally am going through what I went through 6 years ago when this all started. And I don't get why it's certain cities and certain places. I don't get it. I've moved so many times, and it's worldwide. Gang stalking is worldwide. I guarantee you, if I went to Italy right now, if I went to Naples, Napoli, Italy, Rome, somehow, some way, that people would get there. I don't know if it's some shadowy group or organization or company. I don't know what it is. And I don't know what I did wrong. I'm a smart, kind, loving, intelligent human being, and I feel like I'm being murdered and assassinated and used to test all these different chemicals and things on my body that is not fair. It's not fair to me. And I promise I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. But my dog and I don't deserve this, and they want to push me out of my home. They want to make me homeless. Because think about it. If you don't go through it, and that's the thing, I'm watching other people. I had the windows down in the car, and I'm watching people walk by, and, you know, couples together and families and friends, and I go, they don't have to worry about any of this. It drives a person crazy. And all I want to do is feel safe. It's no-touch torture. You know, they do it in a way that you can't prove it. How am I supposed to prove some carcinogenic gas or epoxy resin or some pesticide. How am I supposed to prove that? How am I supposed to prove it? I'm not a forensic chemist scientist. I'm a regular person. And the two people in my life that I need most right now, that I had one good day with, one good day. And every time I try to do something to help myself, that I find like a remedy to help keep myself happy and calm or healthy, they get mad about. And they try to deny me and say, oh, no, nothing's happening. There's nothing wrong. When I know that there is. And then God forbid, if something happens to me, I don't have insurance right now. These people, whoever orchestrated this whole thing, premeditated it. And I honest to God, I feel like I'm a sacrifice. I know that sounds crazy, but I feel like I'm being sacrificed. I feel like I'm experiencing illegal medical assault, illegal attacks and abuse, and maybe even like weird experimentation shit. I don't even know what to call it. I just feel like I got thrown in a fucking tent of pesticide and I can't live outside with my dog. I'm not going to live outside with my dog. That would be the most dangerous thing to do. But I'm hungry and I'm tired. And these people, I don't even know how to go about it. I don't even know how to go about it. You know, it's like they want to control what I eat, my food, who I date, who I sleep with, where I go to church, who I associate with, who my friends are. Everything. What I watch, what I read. They want to mold me and control me to be that's what I feel like is going on. And then if it doesn't even make sense to me. It makes no sense to me. I'm the innocent one in this whole situation. All I did was a police report on a guy, and then everything, my whole life turned upside down. I got tailed by cars, police cars, people gave me dirty looks, and I go, did someone lie about me? Did someone frame me? I feel like I'm being trafficked. I feel like people want to isolate me. I feel like people are engaging in trickery and deceit within my community. I have to decide, do I stay here? And I go, but it's obvious. It's funny because I had a good day yesterday, a good day with my family. And then the moment I go, okay, let me consider possibly giving this city a chance, I get in their car and they drive like 15 minutes or an hour to a restaurant that's so far, when we had one like 20 minutes away, the same restaurant. And in the car they were like, it was horrible. I had to open the windows and I had to put my mask on my face, and it was horrible. And I go, who does this to their daughter? And the hardest part is I have no one to talk to about it, because no one, who wants to hear about that? Who wants to hear about targeting and gang stalking? Who wants to sit there and be like, oh, it's this and the conspiracy here? Like, no one wants to hear about that. I've already suffered through, I think, hits, like actual hits on my life. And I don't get why. I don't get why. I don't know why people are trying to hurt me or murder me. I don't know why. I did nothing wrong. I'm like 90-something pounds, 94, 95 pounds. The food I eat, I feel like has drugs in it. I don't even know how they know that, like, what I'm gonna order or what I'm gonna get. I don't know how they know that. And I don't know how to prove that. I already tried to prove one time about fentanyl or something being in my food, or some other drugs. But heavy metals, you know, when you're gang stalked and targeted, people change that and they hack stuff and they tamper with it, and it's not fair. And there's so many targeted people out there, and we're all suffering. We're all going through this really horrible experience. And I swear to God, I feel like some people see it as a competition. They're like, the survival of the fittest. Let's see who has the best mental toughness. Let's see who can survive, you know, fear factor on steroids. I don't get proper medical information. My dog's food, I'm so worried about Bonnie getting poisoned. I really am. I myself get gaslit about my health. I get numbness and tingling in my fingers because I suspected that I had heavy metal toxicity, but they don't give me the proper, you know, I think they gave me inaccurate results. I don't have Parkinson's, I don't have ALS or anything like that. And now I don't know what to do because the only family I had, the people that I thought I could trust, I can't fucking trust. Bonnie, stop, bigger. And I'm in an apartment building that I you know, I don't feel safe in this building. Unfortunately, I've been exposed to vapors and gases and things, and my mom goes, "Oh no, you haven't been exposed to vapors." I know that I was. Bonnie, stop. Don't do that. And it's not fair. It's not fair. And going to another, it's like they trapped me. These people, they trapped me. I feel like I'm being assassinated or murdered, and I don't even know fucking why. And I don't want to give up my dog. She's the only thing I have. And that's why I'm making videos for YouTube, because I don't know what to do. My life was destroyed. My life was destroyed because of one person. And I'm a good girl, I do the right thing. But anybody else who's not going through this would go, "Oh, she's having psychosis, she's having a mental breakdown." No, I'm tired, I'm hungry. And I've been betrayed and tortured and abused and traumatized. And no one gives a shit. I have to suffer over and over and over. It's like when Hitler, it's just like when Hitler abused Jewish men and women or Polish men and women. The same thing. It's the same thing. And he had the Nazis do experiments on these men and women with no anesthesia, no nothing. And I don't know how to fix it. I've moved like 5 or 6 times. I went from Miami to Philadelphia, Philadelphia to Virginia, Virginia to Vermont, Vermont to Indiana, Indiana to Chicago, and Chicago I feel like was one of the worst places to go to. And the saddest part is that everyone else is living a normal life. People are out, it's Saturday night. People are out and about, going to restaurants, having a drink at a bar, going to bookstores, going to movies. And meanwhile, I have to sit here and watch my phone and a security camera to make sure no one comes into my apartment. That's my reality. I can't even eat in peace. I have to worry about someone coming into my apartment, putting anthrax or fentanyl on my keyboard, or putting stuff in my dog's water. That's my reality. And I don't want to go, I can't do Section 8 housing because that's a wait list and you need vouchers. Emergency rental assistance can't do that. I can't go to a homeless shelter with a dog, and I don't really want to because it doesn't feel safe. And my parents deny it over and over again. The two people that I love most in this world. And I feel like I was blindsided by them, and I feel like they don't care. I feel like they see it as like, I don't know how to describe it. And I go, why would someone's parents do that? And I feel like I'm being isolated on purpose. Honestly, I feel like people probably in the community of Chicago probably don't want me here, and I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know if it's a political thing. I don't know if there's something about me that I don't know. And I'm trying to go, where do I move to? What do I do? Because I have credit card debt, you know, that I have like, I don't know how much credit card debt. Like, I don't even know how much I have. It's about average, but like, it's debt that I didn't deserve. You know, it's not like I was like, let me buy a cruise, you know, like a cruise trip. Let me buy a super expensive e-bike. I didn't even want to buy it when I was in small towns and I couldn't get around to places. I didn't even want to buy like an e-bike or a scooter for the fear that a credit bureau would like come after me, or the credit card would be mad because I wasn't working and I was unemployed. So I go, the only thing I can do is use my credit card for rent or groceries. And sometimes I treated myself to like Stitch Fix, like the clothing vendor, because it was the only thing that would fit me. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And I don't want to die. I don't want to die. But I feel like I'm being tortured and humiliated repetitively. And I know that if I went abroad, the same thing would happen. And I'm sorry for crying, but this is the truth. This is the truth. It's not always sunshine and butterflies and rainbows. And that's another thing I wanted to portray on my channel, is that it's not always that. It's really hard. And they'll even have people follow you on certain channels that are perps, and they'll pretend to be like supportive of you, but they're really just keeping tabs on you. I guarantee that's another thing people need to also be mindful of. If you're targeted in gang stalk, that's something I think that intuitively I get in my heart, that I think there are people who will like be like, oh yeah, I'm targeted too, and I'm going through this, or they just do it for clout and they want you to follow their page, or it's a business, or like maybe it is a business, maybe gang stalking is a business, you know. At the end of the day, maybe it's a business. Maybe it's human trafficking for real. Maybe it's buying and selling of humans, because that's what it feels like. I feel like people are waiting for me to croak, because if let's just say hypothetically that these people got what they wanted, right? Let's say they push me to the brink, and they push me so much that they restrict my food, they restrict my water, or they put stuff in my water to make like poison, or to hurt me, to knock me unconscious. I end up croaking, right? They take my body, they say, oh, she had issues, and then, you know, they do an autopsy, and then my organs get disseminated because I have on my thing organ donor, so that's probably a factor, maybe. I just feel like I've been lied to, and I do feel like I need a lawyer. I don't know what for though. My background checks come back clear. You know, it doesn't say that I'm on a watch list, so I don't know who. Is it drug trafficking? Is it crooked police officers? Is it, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. And for the life of me, I don't understand why the people that I need the most in my life right now lied to me. They're the only thing I have. And they lied. I mean, I was in their car, and it was fine yesterday. And I'm not making this up, I promise I'm not making this up. And anyone else who would speak to my family would go, oh, there was nothing wrong, we were fine. Yeah, but I don't know how deep this shit goes. I don't know how far down the rabbit hole it goes, because I don't know what can of worms that I opened because of targeting and shit. You know, I made a pretty big fuss about this whole thing. I wrote to the New York Times, I wrote to the Washington Post, I wrote to, I don't know, it wasn't the New Yorker. It was 3 major newspapers years ago, asking to the tech columnists, asking for help to get whatever it was on my phone, because I suspected it was high-level spyware. So I wrote to them, and then I wrote to this group in France called Forbidden Stories. They research drug cartels and stuff like that. And they're the spyware. They looked into spyware. So that's why I reached out to them. I emailed them. I don't know if I heard back, but I reached out to them. I mean, I tried Apple, everything. And then my precinct at home, I tried, getting their help, and they kind of just dismissed it. They were like, oh, if you don't have pictures, I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Wear a body cam, a dash cam? I'm not a police officer. So I don't know. And then, I do card readings and stuff, and this is what comes up all the time. Luxury boutique, it says dazzling gems, precious metals, handcrafted masterpieces, bespoke luxury. So something to do with like high-end jewelry, or like, something opulent and important. And I'm like, because I asked God, I go, what is it? Why am I being targeted so badly? And I do think people see it as a competition. It says competitive environment. And I don't know what this is about. I don't know if someone left me a gift, or someone, gave me something. I don't know what this is. But why would someone try to murder someone and hurt them over a gift? It doesn't even make sense. And if law enforcement, or if there's detectives out there that, because I made a big deal about my whole thing, like legally I made a big deal. I reported it to Virginia police, I reported it to Miami police, Coral Gables police. I told the FBI about it. I mean, I applied to be an FBI agent myself. I know that seems kind of silly. I know I'm very girly girl, and but like, if I need to train myself, if I need to like I'm the kind of person that if I don't have the skills for something, I will actively seek out resources to make sure that I am competent and confident in that, so I can have some sort of means to go off of. So that's why I was like, oh, let me do that. But even that, I go, oh, was it a Trojan horse? Was that a way? Because there's so much speculation where people go, oh, it's the government, it's this and that, and I go, but it doesn't make sense. But why? What good would a government agency or anything, and I'm not trying to be rude, it's just, but what good would they have to sit there and humiliate and stalk another human being to the point where they try to make that person take their life or put them in a mental institution? What good, unless it's human trafficking? And I don't know, I don't want to equate that. I don't want to say those two things are synonymous with each other. I would hope not. I've asked people who told me that they worked in government previously, like different men that I've known or dated, or just by happenstance when I was in Virginia or wherever, and they said, oh no, the government doesn't do that. They would never do that. But then you have a whole nother website called targetedjustice.com where people are like, oh no, they're actively doing that. And I go, I'm so confused. I'm genuinely confused. And it's even more confusing because, like I said, I had a beautiful upbringing. A beautiful upbringing. Safety, security, love, nurturing, positivity, and now it's the complete opposite. And I don't know whether to keep my family together. Like, I want to be like the glue to hold them together, or just let them go. Because that's unless they're the ones doing it. But I go, how would my two civilians, two normal human beings, a mother and father, be able to orchestrate? There's no way. Unless they're connected to other people. But I'm not a detective. That's not my job to go there and investigate stuff. I'm not paid to do that. All I know is that I'm innocent. I did nothing wrong, and I feel like I'm being treated like a terrorist. That's what it feels like. Like as if I was some threat or a problem, and I'm not. I'm a good girl. I do the right thing. I paid my taxes. There was one company last year I did like not freelancing, but I don't know if it's 1099 work, but it was like chatting with people, you know, online, and you get paid for it. But my mom told me I don't think I got paid enough to get a form, you know, for the taxes. So I didn't bother going into that. But I pay my taxes. I don't break the law. I'm honest to a fault, so I don't understand it. I don't understand it. And I don't know how. Like, I literally, it was like, almost like going to dinner was like as if I was a teenager again, and I was like sulking, and I had to sit and step away from it. It was horrible. It was horrible. I'm 34. I shouldn't be arguing like that with family. It's stupid. And this is the problem, because it's such a dysfunctional dynamic, and I'm sorry, and I don't know if my situation is going to help other people, and I don't know what other target individuals, their family situation is like. And please, you know, if you're not targeted, please don't pretend to be. You know, don't try to get in my good graces and do brainwashing and comment on my videos and be like, oh, this, and this. Please don't do that. I already have enough of that in my real life, in my physical life. I don't need it in the virtual world. Because that's what people do. The stalkers, the perps, they'll try to go into the target individual, the people's profiles and their channels, and try to do gaslighting and BS there too. And that's not fair. It's like all these people do morning, noon, and night is just try to find ways to sabotage an individual psychologically. And you have to ask yourself why. Why do they do it? Why do they do it? What good do they get out of it? They must be getting paid a little extra, because no one's going to do that for nothing, you know? No one's going to do that for nothing. And it's sad because, like, I sit here and I pull cards, right? And I know that sounds silly, but it's like my only means of communicating with the universe, God, spirit, whatever you want to call it. And no, I don't conjure up demons. I don't talk to the underworld, and I'm not, you know, conjuring up ghosts. But I do get information spiritually, like intuitively, with downloads and stuff. And sometimes the stuff that comes out, I'm just like, man, this is really shitty. I just don't know what to do about it. I pray, but imagine for 2 seconds. Like, put yourself in my shoes, like my world, the way that people do this. Imagine you want to eat your food, but you have people, like, because they hack my phone, so they know where I'm gonna go. So, like, if I go to Portillo's or Portillo's, right? I even think that they want to modify my consumption, my tastes of, like, what I like. Like, they want me to eat, you know, fruits and veggies. Like, I don't eat fruit, at least not, like, regularly. Like, it has to be in a smoothie, but I feel like they want to modify my behavior by, like, I swear to God, it sounds crazy, but, like, I tried to eat some of a cookie that I got at Wendy's. You know, I got cookies at Wendy's because I like sweets, you know, and that's a normal thing. Everyone likes sweets. It's not a sin to have a cookie. And I had a little bit of it, and I started to, like, feel like a little bit, I started to feel faint. My heart rate started to increase, and then I also started to feel like I was fainting and drifting, and I go, like, my body was getting weak, and I go, oh God, I go, and that's my cue to me that something's off, right? And so that also happened with a brownie as well. And I remember when I ate a brownie from the grocery store, I know this sounds crazy, but I started to sweat, like, profusely. Like, I legit started to sweat profusely and tremble, and I was like this, and I had a horrible headache, horrible. And I go, why do I have such a bad headache? Why am I sweating profuse every day in Chicago? Bonnie, stop. I go, why am I sweating profusely? Why I started to shake and tremble. I mean, it was bad. My body, whatever I ingested in that, whatever was in that brownie, it did not sit well with me. And I've never been I made brownies from Betty Crocker. I made brownies from Duncan Hines. I've had Magnolia cupcakes, Sprinkles cupcakes, Billy's Bakery in New York, Sweet Mandy B's in Chicago, Molly's Cupcakes in Chicago. I've had all of that. Never had any issue. I don't have gluten-free, whatever, celiac, none of that. I don't have IBS, Crohn's, ulcerative colitis. What's the other one? SIBO, S-I-B-O. I don't have that. So, but imagine you're trying to eat your food, and every single thing you eat has stuff in it. And you ask, how do they do that? Well, all they have to do is, if they have my phone rigged and my phone hacked, there you go. If I shop through Instacart, if I shop through DoorDash, Uber Eats, even if I go to the store and they could put something out. Like, I realized I went to an Italian market recently and they didn't have it closed. I realized that wasn't sealed. They didn't put a tamper resistant seal, and I'm going to make a comment on that, because at the end of the day they need to put a tamper resistant seal, because that lid popped off. Like, I was sorting through the different things and I was like, do I want lasagna, do I want cannelloni, do I want eggplant, and legit a top popped off, and I go, I could have very easily just put a little something in there, which isn't safe, which I just thought about now. It dawned on me now. Bonnie, stop. So, I am nervous and I'm scared. And do I feel better from whatever I was exposed to? Yeah, I do feel better. But it was very uncomfortable and it was very scary and it was very hard to breathe. And some people that are targeted, they say, I read in some, like, handbook thing that they said that some people who are targeted get used as, like, guinea pigs or something. Like, they get experimented on with, like, a bunch of different chemicals and shit and, you know, drugs. And I'm just like, why? Like, imagine someone violating your human rights and your privacy every day, and you can't prove it, right? Because we're not experts, right? We're not senior IT specialists at super cybersecurity firm, right? I'm not super executive IT computer science nerd. I'm not that. I'm not an ethical hacker. I'm not a black hat hacker. I don't know how to do any of that shit. So that's one factor going against people that are targeted. Second factor is, you know, obviously the hacking or whatever, that's the biggest one, right? And then the discrediting is like, how do I explain it if I give a good example? Well, just like today, like, oh, this and this is happening to me. I'm being bullied at work, or, you know, they're singling me out, or, you know, like for me, they'll put certain stuff on my social media, or like I had it before where someone was going hardcore hacking my YouTube feed, it was YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, and my Pinterest. And I used to see stuff that would come up. It was, how does it feel like to be murdered? What does it feel like to be shot at? How are bullets made? Or what does it feel like if a bullet goes through you? Or human trafficking, how does it work? Black organ market traffic, whatever. Stuff like that would come up, and I'm like, why is this stuff coming up on my feed? And then so I'd show that to someone, and someone would gaslight me and go, oh, you must have looked at it, whatever, and our phones are always listening to us, and our TVs are smart TVs, and our Alexa devices, so maybe, you know, the algorithm. And I'm like, no, it's not the algorithm. Someone purposely and intentionally tried to scare the shit out of me by putting the most ominous, heinous shit on my feed repetitively. Imagine being exposed, right? Talk about an experiment. Imagine being exposed repetitively to aversive stimuli. Scary, ominous, dark, demonic shit. Horrific stuff over and over again. And you're someone like me who's like very kind, very loving, and you're just like, why is this happening? And then everyone, you go to the police, oh no, we can't do it, like, we don't know how to do, we're not in that, so go to the FBI. Okay, hey FBI, I'm experiencing this, and this, I have weird screenshots, this and this, I think I got hacked, but whatever. You wait first year, you're like, okay, I'm gonna move, I did the thing, I put in my report, okay, go to Philadelphia, I was there. Weird shit happened there too. In my apartment, I felt like the HVAC system was rigged in some way, where I felt like the air was so piercing and cold. I don't know if it was nitrous or infused with some other thing, but it felt like shards of glass. I went to an urgent care, and the nurse practitioner, her name was Julie something, and she said, oh yeah, you have hyperinflation or something. And it's something with the oxygen displacement or inflammation in your lungs. And then she took it back and she's like, oh, no, I was wrong. No, you don't have that. I'm sorry, that's for someone else. And I was like, so no, she did say that. And my lungs were inflamed. I remember my parents came again to visit me when I was in Philadelphia, and we went out to a Mexican restaurant. I drank a little bit of a margarita, and it burned so much. And I have no problem drinking margaritas. That tequila burned, because it's like, imagine if you were exposed to butane and aerosol in your home. That's what I was going through. Meanwhile, I was seeing stuff like learning how to make cancer recipes. I'm not kidding you. I had a screenshot that said, learning how to make cancer recipes. Creating chemistry through whatever with cancer. What only murders in the building. When that show with Selena Gomez and Steve Martin and Martin Short was very prevalent and popular, that used to come up all the time. Oh, you're gonna be murdered in the building. And I was like, or there's gonna be a BOMB in the building. That would happen, and they're like the construction crew, and then I'd go downstairs and there'd be a construction crew walking by. And I'm like, so someone would play mind games with me, and I'm like, this is great. And mind you, I moved to Philadelphia to start over, and I was like, oh, this is going to be so wonderful. I'm going to get a fresh start. You know, Philly had so many great restaurants. I had such a good job. I was going to make such a good salary, and I was part of such a strong team of women. And I looked up to them. So I didn't tell them that, but like, I looked up to them so much. And I have the problem of doing that with people, where I put them on a pedestal, but because it was such a world-renowned, reputable hospital, that I felt so minuscule and minute in comparison to everybody else. You know, I knew I came with my own skill set, but like, after going through that shit in Miami and then going over there, I was like, I need to step up my game, and I don't want to be egotistical or act like a know-it-all. So
you know, I felt very humbled, but at the same time I was so preoccupied with everything else that was going on. And because I was so overwhelmed, I couldn't handle it. I cried, I was depressed, miserable, I had to get therapy. I was at odds with my family. You know, I tried to seek out help from like extended family. Let me stop there. There's a fly flying around. And my extended family basically said, you know, they forwarded my message on to my uncle, and my uncle was like, oh, you need help, and, you know, psychiatric help, and maybe you're in psychosis. And I was like, no, I'm not in psychosis. This and this happened, so and so, and I'm not crazy, I promise. Try to get medication to calm myself down. I did. I used the HERS app. It was wonderful when I used it. No complaints there. You talk through the app and they give you a psychiatrist, and I have no problem saying that it was anti-anxiety meds, and it calmed me down because I was so on edge and scared. Tried to date in Philadelphia, then you know, moved to Virginia because I was, you know, I didn't feel safe in the building anymore that I was in, unfortunately. It was a beautiful building. It was called Riverwalk. Beautiful building. I felt so grateful. And I had everything. Like, I had beautiful furniture from West Elm, Crate and Barrel, Wayfair, Target, CB2, everything. Beautiful. The gym was like the most amazing gym I've ever seen in my life. I ran every day. I took Bonnie outside for runs. I didn't have to worry at that point about putting security cameras, like Ring cameras, in the apartment. I locked the door. I was like, oh, it's fine, you know. And this is where I go, where did I go wrong, you know? And I still had money saved at that point and everything. And then when I said I had to bow out, and I was like, I can't, you know, do this job anymore at the hospital that I worked at, that's when just things started to go south, and I started to dip into my savings, and then I tried to get a childcare job with Bright Horizons in the city. I interviewed at like a Jewish synagogue. They were so nice. The guy was so nice. The recruiter I spoke with, he was so amicable. I went, and then I tried to engage in self-care activities. I did a candle making class at a place called State of Being, which was wonderful. Bonnie, stop, Ever. Bonnie, stop. I did candle making. I got a deep tissue massage. I took myself out to dinner because I said I need to heal. I went to yin yoga, you know, restorative yoga. I did all these things to feed my soul. I went to a horseback riding ranch. This is back in 2023, which I did touch on this in my video about the gang stalking or whatever, and how everything unfolded and transpired. I'm just so upset because it's just like my life fell apart, and I don't know how to build it back up together, and then doing it without a support system, which I just did a video on what, you know, support systems and parenting and child rearing and stuff like that, and different attachment styles. And I was gonna post it. I thought I posted, but I guess not. I'm not sure. Or I was working on it getting uploaded, which I'm gonna delete and redo it. But I'm so confused. I really am confused. You know, I'm 34, I want to live a normal life, I want to feel safe. I feel like I have to do all of this by myself. I feel like law enforcement, EMS, firefighters, that's what they're supposed to do. You know, that's their job. FBI agents, that's their job. They're supposed to help you. How is it that the main people, you know, that I reached out to, Bonnie, stop, are the same people? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Because I have people that say, oh, it's the feds doing it. And I'm like, why would federal agents sit there and pick on me? Like, think about it. It's counterintuitive. What good would they get out of that? Nothing. I'm not a criminal. I don't do illegal shit. I'm like the last person you'd ever... I don't care about breaking the law. I care about helping people. I want to help people. That's why I worked in a hospital with kids. And now I sit here and I'm even more confused than I was before. You know, and I'm the type of person that I don't like to burn bridges. I like to mend them. I like to forge them. And I'm trying my best to forge the relationship that I have with my family. And I've reached out to a bunch of people. I reached out to a cousin on Pinterest that I don't really talk to anymore, that I knew when I was a kid. I have some other family located elsewhere that's on my dad's side, but I go, is it worth like reaching out to them? Because I don't know what, you know, I don't know. Doing all of this on my own is very hard. Like, it's really hard. And then being basically broke and destitute, like I am, and I don't mind saying that, like, that's the situation. I didn't spend frivolous amounts of money. I put my rent on a credit card because I had a credit line. I was unemployed and I didn't have a choice. And I did my groceries the same way. I did Instacart. I did a payment plan through Klarna and through Chase Pay Overtime, which I actually paid some of that off recently. But this is humiliating. I feel like I'm being put in like the real life version of the Hunger Games or something. It's ridiculous. And people are sitting back and they have the audacity to gawk at it instead of being like, yeah, I'm going to extend a helping hand to you and help you. No, I'm going to gaslight you. I'm going to trick you. I still, to this day, like, I connected, well, I don't know if I should say that because I think he watches my channel or subscribed to it. But like, some people that I've like connected with recently, you know, and they're like, oh, I'm targeted and this and that, and I'm going through it too. And I'm like, but are you? You know, usually a lot of people, they post about if they're being targeted, they'll put evidence up somewhere. Or, you know, for me on the Instagram thing, I was trying to do user-generated content, but I really, you know, you have to have money to spend on it because they give you products at a discounted rate and then you promote them, you know, and the caveat is you get free products or maybe discounted products, but then they post your pictures on, you know, their website or whatever, or on Instagram. So you're giving them publicity, but then you're also getting, you know, it's free marketing for them, so they don't have to pay. I mean, not really free marketing because they give you a discount. But I've been trying to figure out what am I going to do, because every job that I have, I've been bullied at since this shit started. And I'm the innocent one. Isn't that the crazy part? I'm the innocent one. I did nothing wrong. Look, heartbreak place. Grief. It is a heartbreaking place. But if you want an inside scoop of what my life is like, this is my life. And you go, where do I go from here? And I go, what do I do? Who do I mean, because you would think legally, like law enforcement, they're the ones that are supposed to do something about it. There has to be something that I'm missing, or something that either there's some corruption or egregiousness going on behind the scenes. Either it really is trafficking or organ trafficking, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. You know how frightening that is to say human trafficking? Do you know how frightening it is to say those words? and sex trafficking, organ trafficking. Like, do you know how scary it is to say those words as a person who is not well versed in any of that stuff? And I better not be being used as bait either, because that would be really shitty. And then trying to date, people would probably go, she's crazy to try to date, whatever. And I'm like, but I want to have companionship. I want to make friends. Now, granted, it's hard to do that when you live in a big building and you feel like you have to have eyes on your door all the time. But before all this happened, I had everything. Like, I was going out to yoga. I did yoga at the park. I did Eventbrite events. I did Yelp events. I was so proactive and involved in my community. And now it's like all I do is just try to survive. And this is a repeat of what I went through in Virginia, literally. I stayed at a complex called Mosaic. That was the name of the area. It's literally the same thing. And I don't know who or why people would go so hardcore for me. I'm no one special. Like, I'm not a dignitary. I'm not famous. I'm not royalty. Not that I know of. Maybe in a past life. It just feels so cruel. And even this building, like, no offense to the building, it's just, you know, I pride myself on having positive ambiances and nice aesthetics and pretty colored walls and flowers and, you know, intricate little ornate details and subtleties that bring joy and life to a room. And I haven't even been able to focus on that. I try to bring that energy myself, but I haven't even been able to focus on that. And then the other thing is that, you know, really is shitty. The other thing that's shitty is, you know, the support system part, which I did a video on, is I hate burdening people with this shit. I hate it. I hate the fact that this is the focal point of my freaking life. I'm being tortured. Like, I'm legit being tortured every day with no-touch torture, gases, poisons, lead, mercury, and I know this because all my symptoms are synonymous with those things. Botox is a neurotoxin. It's actually a bacteria, botulinum toxin. It's what people inject for their, which I've never done before, but they injected it like the crow's feet, the wrinkles, you know, like that kind of stuff. That's not supposed to be ingested, and I really do think I was poisoned with that and mercury. Maybe even trace amounts of like cyanide. If you have too much of B12, by the way, just so you know, B12 is created with cyanocobalamin, and that's a non-lethal form of, it's related to that, to cyanide, but it's not lethal. And then methylcobalamin is another formulation, you know, for B12, but just be mindful of that. Also, apricot seeds have vitamin B17, which is latril, and latril also has cyanide, which is allegedly supposed to kill cancer. I mean, not kill cancer, not kill it, but it's supposed to, people put that as a supplement, you know, in their smoothies to help whatever, like just like pumpkin seeds are used for parasites and shit, and black walnut cloves and all that stuff, but I don't know, you know, I don't know how to go about this. And I don't want to burden people with this shit. I don't want to be like, oh, I'm targeted and this is my life and people are so mean. I don't like that. And that's not even my nature anyways. I don't like to talk down about people, but I am legit scared.
my body was put through hell today. Again. If it isn't the food, you know, with something in it to make me tired and sleepy and drug me, then it's something else. And I don't know how to tell these people to stop, you know? I want my life back. How am I supposed to live a normal life or focus or pay attention to anything? I'm scared to take a fucking shower because I've taken showers before at different locations, like apartments that I've rented, and the shower, after I got out of the shower, I felt so weak and lethargic, and I go, what was in that water? When I was in Philly, there was a latex spill, a chemical spill in the Delaware River. I got rashes on my arm and I go, why? Am I allergic to the water? And then I found out through a neighbor that there was latex in the water, and I'm allergic to latex. So I was like, oh, that makes sense why I have rashes. It's a nightmare. It's a fucking nightmare, excuse my language. And yeah, and I know people, oh, go abroad. No, it happens in Canada. I went to Canada for to meet a Tinder date. You know, I know that sounds crazy, but I went for New Year's Eve or New Year's Day or something, and I crossed the border. I told the border patrol, I was like, oh, I'm going to meet a Tinder guy. I'm like, if you see my body in a river, you'll know who it was. And I told, you know, her his name. And she's like, do you know where he lives? Whatever. I was like, well, I'm renting an Airbnb or VRBO, whatever. I lost cell service right when I crossed the border. I literally lost cell service right when I was pulling cards a second ago, but I lost cell service when I crossed the border. I'm talking complete cell service. I had to use my phone and put it up to the sky to find satellite signal. SOS emergency signal kind of thing. And I almost didn't end up meeting the guy. I met him at a I had to connect my phone to a stranger's phone, to a French dude's phone in Canada. Went to the cashier and said, tu parles français? J'ai parlé un petit peu de français. And he's like, oh. And I'm like, je comprends un petit peu. And he's like, okay. And I'm like, je suis American. J'ai un téléphone. I don't know how to say. I need, help with whatever in French. But I said call, phone, internet, whatever. And but luckily there was a guy who came into the store, and I connected my phone I tethered my phone to his in the hotspot, and then I was able to access my email and then get in touch with the Tinder date guy and met him at the convenience store, which was embarrassing because I looked like shit. I had a huge zit. That was the most embarrassing thing in my life. I had a huge hydrocolloid Band-Aid, see-through Band-Aid on my chin because I had a huge zit. I had no makeup on. I looked horrible. I looked tired as shit because I was driving because I went from Vermont, Montreal to Canada. No, from Vermont, Burlington to Canada because they're neighbors or whatever. And then I get there, and then, it was just awkward. And I told myself I didn't even get to see really much of Montreal, but when I was there, I still felt like I was being targeted and gang stalked, so I really don't think it would stop. And you have to know French to go to Canada, so it's not that easy. So maybe the rent is cheaper and they have universal health care and whatnot, and maybe it'll be slightly different than America, but I don't know anything about Canada. I just didn't deserve this shit, I feel like someone wants to treat it like a puzzle piece Rubik's Cube thing, and I'm like, this is so stupid. I mean, God forbid my food might have Botox in it. Isn't that great? Imagine you could eat foods that can kill you or get you really sick or put you in near-death experiences. Exactly what we all want, right?
So what is a girl to do? I don't know. I've always told myself I feel like target individuals need to like make their own community. Whatever. And, you know, start their own thing. That's what I told myself. Like, the targeted individuals need to start their own community and find, you know, support within that community, because no one else understands experience. Nobody does. Nobody gets to experience unless you're in it. Promise you. What? What, baby? So I have to sit here and go, what do I do now? Because don't want to go to a homeless shelter. I literally saw a homeless guy on the street today, had no teeth. He had a sign asking for money, and I smiled at him, and I felt bad. I was going to give him my cookies, and I'm like, but if the cookies are funky, I wouldn't want to hurt him. So I was like, I don't want to do that. That wouldn't be nice. I gave them to my parents. I was like, here. Because at this point, I'm like, it's just so unfair. I don't know who I pissed off. I'm not a dignitary. I'm not a diplomat. I'm slightly gifted. Like, there's other psychic people who are like 10 times smarter than me. I'm more intuitive. And trying to find people who are, you know, supportive of the journey is 10 times harder. Because here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. When someone becomes your ally, right, in this whole experience, they're probably likely to get targeted too. And their family. So that's something that I don't want to bring upon people. And that's what makes dating hard too. Because then you're like, hey, by the way, nice to meet you. My name's Ashley and I'm 34 and I'm going through this, and this. And 6 years ago, I went through this, and this. And, you know, stalking, hacking, the usual. And, you know, I would love to meet a nice, strong man who can protect me, but, you know, not that easy. And, yeah, are you willing to go through this journey with me? That's what I feel like should be my PSA. I've been seeing so many PSAs from men where they're like on Instagram, oh, I'm 35, I'm single, and I'm a dog dad, I love plants, and I work out on the weekends, I love God, and I'm just like, what do I say for my PSA? Hi, I'm 34, I'm single, I had a beautiful life, it all got destroyed, and now I'm basically almost broke and destitute. Please rescue me. I don't want to play the damsel in distress trope, but it's like at this point, that's what it kind of feels like. And my dog, I don't know what to do, you know, I love Bonnie, but I don't want to ever give her up because she's all I have. And I don't want to live in a tent. I don't want to be homeless. And now after what happened in the car with my family, I don't know what to think anymore.
Because honestly, it felt like it was pesticide. I'm not kidding. Honestly, it felt like it was pesticide. And then you say, oh, but you'd be dead by now. Not necessarily. That's not true. You know, there's a lot of stuff that's carcinogenic. It feels hard to breathe right now. Like, literally. It's hard to breathe. I'm just so tired of being abused, you know. Psychologically, spiritually, emotionally.
mentally, physically. I feel like I'm banned from having proper medical care. I feel like if I don't comply with my family, then like I don't even know anymore. Because I've heard about families becoming like your handlers or whatever. And I don't want to look upon the government in that way, you know? Like the whole conspiracy thing. I just don't want to look at it like that. I want to believe that people are good and that, you know, justice prevails and that truth prevails and that everything will be okay one day. That's and that people have each other's best interests at heart. That's what I want to believe. But it's so hard. And it's so easy for these people to frame people as mental and bipolar and all this because, you know, the mood fluctuation, you go from feeling so, you know, you have a really good day some days and you feel motivated and you have the energy, and then some days, you know, you feel like you have no energy and you don't want to get out of bed and things feel hard. So I don't know. I'm scared to eat and drink, so I gained some weight, but I'm still scared. That's not fair to me. Because whoever's doing this thing is making it really hard. And they treat it like a game, and it's not funny. And they don't treat a human life that way. And it's so weird to see other people living normal lives. Like I was on my phone in the restaurant that I was at with my parents, and you know, people are entering, you know, the building, and you know, they're talking about what they're gonna eat, and they're like, oh, it smells so good in here, and I go, oh, I would give anything to switch lives with them. I would give anything to just have normalcy and safety. Because I have to go, oh, can I eat that food, or is there gonna be someone in the back who's gonna say, hey, let me put something inside of the pizza. That's what I have to be wary of. So if anybody has any help at all, and please do not fake being targeted, please don't. You're not gonna help me, and you're not, and trust me, I see right through that shit. I'll give you, you know, I give you 1 chance, 2 chances, and that 3rd chance, that's it. I won't, 3 strikes you're out. Like, I'm not gonna, if you try to bamboozle me or gaslight me, I already get enough of that from friends, family, whatever. I don't need it from strangers on the internet who are gonna try to say, yeah, oh, I'm going through the same thing too, but then you're really not. And, you know, you're conflating stuff and you're trying to get in my good graces. No, it's not funny. And if you can be a source of support for someone, please do that. Please. Targeted individuals have it so hard. Going through this alone is so hard. Especially when people want to gaslight you and discredit you and say, oh, no, none of that is happening. It's all in your head. No, it's not all in my head. I'm a well-educated, smart, young woman, and I know my shit. I know my shit, and I do my research. I'm just pulling cards because sometimes I'm like, I have these cards that have different places on them. You know, this one says like relax, bench, like don't stress, don't worry. Lighthouse, which means like hope, guiding light, sentinels, you know. That kind of thing. But this is really hard. Look, just as I presumed. Kitchen, like food, meal preparation. Home, where I am right now. Danger. Danger lurking. That's what it says. That's not a good thing. This is not a good card. This is like dangers lurking. You have to be careful. And that's like a greenhouse. When you look at it, that's a greenhouse. Like when you put plants and stuff. So maybe someone's using drugs, plants, because drugs come from plants. See, the bushes, the plants, the different things. I just don't get why people are treating this like a game. It's not a game. This is my life. Anyhow, if anybody has any information at all, or you know, did you get out of it? Like, how did you overcome it? Did you move? Did you move in with someone? How is it living with someone in the same, you know, home as them? Because I've done that with like friends before, years ago, even with students that were my yoga students. And I sensed weird gases in their home too. I know that sounds crazy, but I'd have an air quality meter and I go, this is weird. And I go, why would people do this? And I would have to keep the doors open, the windows open. I know that sounds really paranoid and crazy, but I wouldn't just make that up. And I promise I'm not schizophrenic. I don't have delusions. I'm trying the best that I can, given the circumstances. So, if anybody has any information at all, or you have any advice or resources, please let me know, because I'm getting it pretty bad. Chicago has been one of the worst places. Inside the building, I mean, I think I've gotten exposed to different vapors, maybe mercuries, like fentanyl stuff like that. But I feel like I was literally almost murdered today. And that was in my parents' car. I would like to look at it as a test, you know, in some sick way, like some sick science project thing, but when push comes to shove, the reality is, if there's any possibility of injury or harm upon another human being, then most likely it's not being derived from happy compassion, but, you know, malice or maliciousness or evil. So, I have to figure out what to do again for the 5th or 6th time in my life. And I'm scared because I don't have a job right now. And trying to apply to jobs while you're tired and being drugged and possibly poisoned is not an easy feat for anybody. Mustering up the courage and bravery to keep pushing forward despite the circumstances is very hard. because you feel weak all the time, tired, I'm probably slightly anemic. My shoulder's hurting all the time. So, if anyone has any answers at all, I would greatly appreciate it. And I don't have a support system right now. I would like to think I do, and I thought I had it for like a second. But I don't. And I have no money as well. And this is coming from someone who had like over $100,000 saved in their bank accounts. I had Citibank, and I had Tropical Financial Credit Union back in Miami. And I had Charles Schwab stock from Apple. And because of the PTSD, and it was so overwhelming that I couldn't cope with it, so I had to leave certain positions, and then I was bullied in certain jobs, and I was exposed to certain occupational hazards, like I think maliciously, unfortunately, by certain people, so I resigned. And that in of itself was traumatizing. So I've been through hell. So if you have a safe place of refuge, if you know, people have told me, to go to Miami to there's a shelter for women, for like abused women, for like domestic violence or whatever. And I don't know if I can call it domestic violence because I didn't have someone physically hit me or anything, but and I never thought I'd be going on YouTube doing this, but here we are, And I know that there's certain websites that are like, oh, you can travel the world and, in exchange for housing and lodging, but I have a dog and I love her with all my heart, and she's been the one constant in my life. So any help is appreciated. Whether you're a lawyer, a doctor, an accountant, I don't know, I'm not asking for $1 million. I'm not asking, for whatever. I'm just, if answers, help, safety, security, refuge, technical support, no gaslighting, no BS, no bullshit, no hits, just peace. Or if you are, in law enforcement and you're brave enough to help me, or a private investigator or something like that, I would be so grateful. I don't know how to do, I've tried to reach out to the appropriate resources. My nose. And, it's been hard, to say the least. And I know now, when you're targeted, living in a big building is very difficult. I strongly advise that if you can, live in your own home, a single family home, work. Do not quit your jobs, no matter what. If it's something that's a performance-based, compensation-based thing, that's a little different. Like, if you have a job, keep it by all means. I know that sounds, if you're unhappy, I'm a big proponent of like, do what makes you happy. But keep that job. Don't leave it until you have a backup. For me, it's been kind of different because, it's just, it wasn't jobs that were like for $50,000 where I was like an integral part of the team. I was just one in a million, So if I left, my absence wouldn't be missed, I hate that. That sounds really bad and morbid, but like in a professional workforce sense at different companies I worked for. So if you can be your own boss also, that's a really great thing too. I've considered that, but it's difficult, because I think you have to have funding. It costs money to make a website. I know Instagram is free, but like it costs money to make a website. if you're going to do virtual services, e-commerce, you have to kind of know how to navigate that. I'm not really well tech savvy, but I have thought about that. I can't just pop up a food truck or bistro out of nowhere, or a bakery. So yeah, but any help would be appreciated, because I am scared for my life. Like it says it right here, dangers lurking, home, where I'm at, place right now, and kitchen, meal preparation, you know. And that's true. Literally what I'm going through right now, that's what's happening. So, and going on a cruise or working on a cruise is not an option for me, because there's so many people that get trafficked and kidnapped on cruises. It's not even funny, you know. And look what happened recently with the virus that happened. That's scary. So, if you are someone who's brave enough to reach out to me and email me, or I have had some people reach out to me, which I'm very grateful for. I still kind of skeptical and wonder if they're like actually, you know, like legitimate people, or if they're pretending or whatever. Because some people do that, like legitimately, some people will pretend to be targeted so they have eyes and ears, but other people, you know, won't. So, but I would be very, very grateful, because I am kind of alone in this whole situation. Friends kind of fell by the wayside, you know. And they're all doing their thing anyways. Everyone's either doing nursing or healthcare or doctors, lawyers, teachers. And I'm sitting here just trying to survive. I was a teacher. I did consider teaching English online, but I didn't, you know, I'd want a steady, you know, thing, because you need steady income. And also to move abroad, by the way, you need enough savings, unless that country pays you to move there. But honestly, I feel like it happens everywhere. Targeting is a worldwide phenomenon. So trying to run away from it and escape it is kind of futile. I know there's this idea of bloom where you're planted, but easier said than done, especially when people are really going hardcore on someone like me. So yeah, if you have any advice at all, or if by the grace of God you know you were able to escape it, or you know you got legal aid or something, or legal reprieve, please, like, I would be so grateful, because I do feel like there was an injustice. I do feel like there was an element of corruption involved, or slander, or lies, or misperceptions, or misunderstandings, or, you know, I don't know. And maybe it snowballed and escalated into something that was far worse than what it was, you know. So, thank you for listening, and thoughts and prayers would be very much appreciated, you know, at this time. And I do appreciate, you know, I do enjoy kind of shedding light on different topics, you know, like, I talked about having a support system and, you know, parenting and child rearing and stuff like that. That's enjoyable for me. I do enjoy that. And, you know, I haven't thought about creating like a consultative business in respect to, you know, child psychology and child life therapy. Because I'm not certified anymore, but I was certified, but I still am a child life specialist by trade. So I still have the training and the skills, and, you know, and I'm equipped to be able to provide support in that manner. So if you are someone interested in that, I'd be more than happy to help with that. Or, you know, how to bond with your child, mother-baby bonding, father-baby bonding, you know. There's a fly. So, yeah. Thank you so much for listening. And please stay safe. And please, if you're someone that works in the government sector or any industry that has some sort of say in the matter, or you can influence someone's thoughts or behaviors in terms of like trying to fix and remedy things that, like what I'm going through, please do so. Please, because it is frightening. And I don't want to lose my life. I have so many hopes and goals and dreams. And I don't believe in giving up or bowing out. I really don't. Giving up was not in my in my vocabulary. Crying is okay, even though I know it's a sign of weakness and vulnerability, but it's cathartic and therapeutic. I just want to feel okay, and I want to feel safe, because I don't. And I know it's hard to explain my situation and translate it into something that's understandable and comprehensible to the civilian and normal, like everyday person, but you can look it up. And a lot of times, yeah, there's social workers and psychologists who will discredit that, and that usually means that they're in on it, because unfortunately they do get paid, I think, a stipend or, you know, a cut of, like, if they try to discredit targeted individuals and say, oh, none of that is true, they're not being harassed, there's no such thing as electronic harassment or stalking or illegal surveillance, that's all BS. And no, it's not. This has been going on for years, and I don't want to lose my life over this. I really don't, and I'm scared. So any help is appreciated. Thank you so much.